Remix. 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 Remix.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I ain't get the echo right. Now we good. Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. You know it's cold outside. It's like, yo, it's brick weather, rusty metal, brown leather, so phantom feather, forever hungry. My son distort this country to bungee. From crummy, slummy, not so sunny ghettos, no lakes, no metals. Pigs get medals for killing my fellows. Bitches rub elbows, no hellos, no grins. Mace with like smack tens, only fam, no friends. We commit sins to get ins. Adjust, listen how this world spins. Create religions, rely on drugs to break decisions. Third eye vision's blurred. Only see cast off the curb. And herb niggas succeed while we sweat and bleed. We need and want, stressing bills every month. We help with peace of mind, cause arteries eating swine. Define reality due to slavery, poverty. All we ever see deep in the penitentiary. No regions, meat straight out of Italy. Guns to the U.S. slums, bums for jumps, exchange quarters for ones. Yo, that's some shit we used to do through back in the 90s, son. Yo, welcome out. This is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Welcome. This is Black Liberation Media, and we are here to give you that boom bap breakfast. So, we're gonna start it off with a little freestyle. Get y'all hype, get y'all up, you know what I'm saying? With that said, we got a crew coming through. You know they late. I mean, CP time. All the time. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, big up to all my people in the chat room that's coming through. I see as Sugar Shan is in the building. We got Brother Jamil in the building. We got Old Grease in the building. We got everybody coming through. You know what I'm saying? Yo, big up. I ain't seen my man in a minute. What's good, Rod? All right. Yo, with that said, we gonna get into it. We got some news. We got some big things coming up. First of all, we're not gonna do no classical breakdown today. Kim Bridown got something to do, and I got a graduation to do today. I gotta go do a graduation for some youth, so I gotta go DJ that. And yeah, that's what's going on. We got Kamal K. Franklin coming through today. You know he had to go drop the kids off. But we're gonna get into it. So I guess the best thing for me to do right now is to do a little mix to get y'all, unless y'all I ain't spitting no more bars. That's just a little something. So with that said, let's get into it. Fuck it. You know me. I pass the time. Here we go. Once again, y'all tuned in to the Remix Morning Show. You know? So let's go. Welcome out. Once again, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there.
Take this for example, young brothers want to, cause in the life they're living, you can't have step. It starts with the young ones doing crap for fun. And if you ain't down, you'll get played out, son. So let's get a car, you know I fly with. Get a dent, pull a screwdriver, and be off quick with the dope ride, yeah, and a rowdy crew. We could bag us a Benz and an Audi too. Even a Jeep or van, goddamn, we're getting ours, yo. Take a trip up the strip and be like stars, so it doesn't matter if the cops be scoping. They can't do jack, that's why a young brother's open to do anything, anywhere, any place. Buck wild in another court case, it's the code of the street. They might say that we're a menace to society, but at the same time I say, why is it me? Am I
the menace to society? I don't even think so, yo. See what's going on here. Let's get it.
When I get stupid to the point that I'm mentally mad, my rhymes start to flow, so I simply must brag about my style that makes you vibrant. I keep driving until the song turns me to a hip-hop giant.
R.I.P.
We're going one-on-one for any sucker rapper that chooses to come. And for me, Craig G, a.k.a. the Kingpin, I drop science, can't you tell how I'm singing? They hate how I turn my mic cord to a whip. Suckers just have to flip, cause I'm so hip. Craig G and Wally Wall, we form the ultimate alliance. No sucker can deal when I drop science. I'm dropping signs.
Get.
I'm dropping signs.
Yeah.
I'm dropping signs.
Let's get it. Oh yeah. Once again. Oh, that didn't even come in right. Let's keep it with the Juice Crew. As we rock out, big up to Marley Marl, the whole Juice Crew and all them. Big up to MC Shan. MC Shan.
Down by law. Down by law. Down by law. Down by law. Down by law.
All y'all down by law tuning in right now. Right here, Black Liberation Media. Let's go.
My name is MC Shan, my destiny is the stars. Being driven around in the freshest cars. All of his beats and my rhymes were chill. Now I'm back once again,
Ready to get ill.
The beat's not fake, the rhyme's hardcore. My name is MC Shan and I'm down by law. I'm down by law. Down by law. Down by law. Down by law. Down by law.
All right. Once again, welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and I just want to let you know it's not just me you see. You also will see no other than Kamal K. Franklin. All right.
What's going on, son?
Hey, you know me. I'm holding it down as usual.
I see. You know what I'm saying?
Got all this
Good thing you got
extra work.
reliable Kamal here. I'll always be with you. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying, I've been going back and forth with Kim. I don't know what's going on with her. Them dogs must be acting up.
As in her feet or as in her dog?
Both. Well, Brugatti or whatever her dog's name is. Oh, shit. I'm up here talking. She about to come on. Oh, my God.
About them dogs.
Oh, yeah. Fucking brown. Whoa. What's this camera work? It's nasty.
The camera work? Oh, yeah. You
Her camera work.
There's a lot of
nasty.
headspace.
Yeah.
Not on your head, fool. The camera's space. The camera. It's high.
Bring the camera down.
Bring the
I'm
camera
doing
down.
nothing. I'm not touching nothing.
You
so
got
y'all
to.
don't have to deal. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you did so. Oh, maybe it's the way you. Yeah, the
Yeah,
camera.
you got.
angle.
No, it's not that. She just got to bring her camera angle down some because we see the
Do I have to
light.
train you again, Kim, and how to do these things with the radio and the camera. You need.
Oh,
like,
she said the radio.
like the radio things. The radio things.
Y'all finished or y'all done? Y'all
I
y'all
think we're done. I think we're done. I'm done for now. I'm done. You might curse me out soon, so I'm done for now.
Good morning. I
Good
don't have
morning,
time
good
for
morning,
the
good
other nigga
morning.
shit this morning. So sorry.
How you
What
doing,
do you
Kim?
want me to do? You want me to touch something? What do you?
Yes, I'm telling you, just touch your camera. Touch your camera. Just touch it so it can come down a little bit. That's all. That's all we asking.
How come that's not a phrasing? That's not a phrasing?
What if I said touch yourself? That'll be a phrasing. But I'm saying touch the camera.
Okay, my bad. Sorry.
There's a lot.
I got childlike.
Welcome back.
Oh my God. Now we're
That's
all
a little
thinking
too much.
Latin.
Good Lord, we see the
The
see you
vape?
need the vacuum cleaner. There we.
Y'all, see,
I
here's
think
the
it's-
there we
thing.
go.
I'm not, I mean, I appreciate y'all helping to try to stage things. I don't give a fuck if you can see the vacuum. I don't give a fuck if you can see the dog. You mistake me as a person who cares, and I don't understand. how
No, it's
you
not.
try
No,
to
because it's like
reason.
usually you're looking directly at the camera, and for some reason, it's
Yeah.
kind of like you're looking.
You know what it is?
See how you're looking now? Like it's like you're looking at something.
Her camera is hooked up to another camera. That's not her original camera, I don't think.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
that's
so you
good.
would have to go to
this is-
settings.
That's
Yes.
what we see.
Christ.
You have to
See?
go to.
See?
All you gotta do is go to settings and click to the other
Yeah, I'm
camera.
not
What you
doing
got to
that.
do? You got to go to
Go
settings.
ahead, go ahead.
and then
We'll let you go backstage and handle
you
that
got to
real
go to
quick.
settings and click
There
to
you
the other
go.
camera. That's
Go ahead, go ahead. You
Okay, I don't-
backstage. All right, just get it together. Good Lord. All right, so welcome to the Remix Morning Show, y'all.
had to mansplain to her. You know what I'm saying? I had to, like,
you.
do that. I had to do that.
Thank
you
you.
know what I'm saying?
You know,
gotta do all that.
sometimes you got to do that. You got
I
to
had to
like
do all. You know what I'm saying?
hush,
Kim
woman.
know. Kim know there's love. Kim know there's love.
You know, hush, woman, and listen to me as I speak.
Tell you how to get this done. How are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing great, man. I gotta leave. I'll be here for the whole show, but I gotta go do a graduation, and yeah, for some youth, and it's free.
Are you like DJ in the graduation? Like
yeah,
like what does a DJ do during graduation?
Well, you know, sometimes. Well, that's the thing. You gotta figure some things out. Like first, you're gonna play some music while the people coming sitting down, and then after they finish coming sitting down, then you play that thing, and then
wait a minute. When they come sit down, but you gotta play like hoity twitty. You can't play like some old school hip hop beat stuff. You don't do all that. You gotta make it like light.
Nah, you know, and then when they celebrate and then say the class of blah blah blah, then I play a song that they all jamming to and get them all hype, and then I'm done. You know what I'm saying?
And how many hours is this? Like 2 or 3 hours?
Just 2 hours. Just 2 hours.
Okay.
So yeah, you know, a little something getting it started. How's it going on with the whole community?
Well, we broadcast yesterday was the debut of our new podcast. Dare to Struggle, Dare to Win with
Wait a minute, man. We just gonna bring Kim on. She's
she don't do it. It's okay.
It's all good.
Trying to push the buttons.
Oh, you was? Okay. I ain't know. What bad. Let's now what were you saying there?
My bad. Okay. So we got out the and our cameras were straight. You know what I'm saying? Our new podcast, Dare to Struggle, Dare to Win, where the camera angles, the settings, everything was on point. They had like even little graphics and stuff like that. It was the most professional thing you've ever seen on Black Liberation Media.
Oh, word.
Well, just very well done. My man Geechee and Yusef Bunchy Shakur were the host of it. They did a great job. I was on as a guest, once again telling my background story. I feel like I do too much of my background story now. It's like
somebody said it was a good podcast and conversation, Devin.
Devin was completely correct. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good debut. Folks should go check it out. Like we'll be sharing stuff online for folks to get it. So yeah. So that was fantastic. You know what? I got to make sure that you are available the last week of May and early June for travel for the Black Radical Conference to be broadcast live on Black Liberation Media.
You want me on a panel?
Huh?
You want me on a panel?
No. I don't want you to talk at all. I prefer when you don't do that part. But what I want you to do is film and DJ the way you did last time, which was fantastic.
Okay.
I want that. I don't want you to say a word.
I can't get up and talk about health, wealth, and knowledge.
I don't want you to greet nobody. I want people to know you there. Except, you know what I'm saying? Like wear a hood. Except when I go like, the ear doctor, and then you go like this, but don't talk. There you go. Let's practice that.
What about last time when I got up and told everybody to shut up?
Yeah. See, that's what we don't want to repeat of you trying to, do production and all that kind. Obviously, like you could tell people like shh as we start the panel and you broadcast.
Did me telling everybody to be quiet work?
Yeah. We don't want all that.
Okay.
We don't want all that. I want all that. I want you there.
I'll do the African. I'll do the African. Be quiet. I'll be like, I go.
You can do an I may. Maybe once. Once. I'm scared you might mess that up. Just do it once.
Fuck the phrasing up.
Just shut up and dribble. That's what I need you. You shut up and dribble, motherfucker.
Be talking.
Dribble your ass off. Dribble like it's the Harlem Globetrotters on speed, my nigga. I need you to dribble.
I'm saying though, y'all should have something about on some health.
Ooh, yeah. You gonna say what hurt? You hear me like that?
Oh, okay.
Dribble.
All right. Damn, man.
Dribble hard, my nigga.
That's the problem with I ain't gonna say with y'all people.
Y'all people.
Y'all never talk about how to deal with y'all bodies, how to.
It's not that kind of conference. It was that kind of conference to be great. Yeah. It's not that kind of conference. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Dr. Speaks.
We want people to come and be unhealthy and fat.
I say.
Whatever. Yeah. Do a couple
Yeah,
Oh, I
man.
remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Last time you came to the Black Man Lab, man.
Where's my tape of that? I feel like y'all didn't put out my little a snippet of me breaking it down. The audience loved me.
Yeah, they did. They did. The thing is about when we do the Black Man Lab is we don't allow taping because it's
People was in the front row doing like videotaping.
no lives, none of that. It's
Where's the snippet of like somebody taped me being there? There was somebody in the front row taping, right?
Yeah, they were taping, but that's not for regular
Public release.
Yeah, because we wanted to make it a safe environment where you could feel like you could say anything, you ain't got to worry about. Yeah. So think about that when when you're doing your events. People want to feel comfortable. Sometimes they don't act the same once that camera get in front of them. You know? What I mean?
That's true. That's true.
Then you could get the real.
Right. I'll bring my ego down a little bit. I was like, I said some good words. It's so wild. Like when I feel like, oh, that was a good speech. No one records it. And I'm kind of like, it was like, wasn't my best. Then I feel like there's people recording and want to put that shit. I was like, nah, not that one. Not that one. Yeah.
So I guess Kim is restarting her whole computer over there. I mean, that's usually what has to happen because her microphone and her camera wasn't picking up on the settings. It happens, you know what I mean? Yeah. You just got to restart.
Y'all can't be professional like me.
I'm glad you got
relatively speaking on. You didn't notice how almost on time I was today?
You was. What is somebody else dropped the kids off?
No, I did it. I just like the traffic was was cool. There was like, it was almost like the skies opened up and God provided a road for me and me by myself.
Oh God!
He was like Moses parting the Red Sea. All the cars moved out of my lane.
Wow! It's amazing how God just appears sometimes in people's lives when.
Yeah. For me personally, I like God when God does things for me. You know what I'm saying?
He'd be like, "Oh, you believe in me now, huh?"
Yeah. And when things go wrong, or sometimes like, you know what, that God thing. You know what I mean?
That's why they got the devil, so you could blame the devil when God ain't doing what they doing.
So the devil is the reason for the California fires.
Exactly.
Gaza, for everything. It's okay.
But then at the same time, God replenishes the earth. So therefore, sometimes it's going to be floods. Sometimes it's going to be fires. You know what I'm saying? So it's God's plan.
God's plan. I feel like though, if God is so good, like, God can do that with a snap of the finger. You know what I mean? Like God is all that. You don't got to do all the death and destruction. You just be like, hey, y'all, I'm gonna do this all around your houses or all around your apartments. I'm gonna replenish, but I'm not gonna have that touched because I'm God and I can be like that.
Yo, God is like,
that's what God could do, right?
Yeah, he's like
that. I mean, not the God is asking me, but the God was to ask my opinion.
Yeah,
which I probably should be on staff for God
on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I probably should be like either chairman of the board or chief of staff.
Okay.
I feel like I should be chief of staff for God.
Yeah. I think God is like Thanos. He should be able to be like Bam and everything, disappears or whatever. But that's the thing. It's like he's a real good game player. If it's a he, because when I look at God, I look at it as a corporate.
I'm gonna do the. Is they really a good game player?
Yeah, I mean, it's been playing games for a bunch of years now. I mean,
I don't know. I like a better plan. That's like, again, not the God has asked me.
Yeah,
but if they were,
they were. Yeah.
Give some
answers. God is a corporation. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of people. It's like deities and stuff like that. I don't see God as one person.
Like the Yoruba set,
Yeah. And then they give them all a hymn. Like, come on, yo. I mean, there's no doubt.
There's women guys, there's male guys, there's like different, like the Nigerian, like the Yoruba.
If God was anything, it would be a woman. I mean, women give birth to everything. Don't that make the most sense?
I think God would be me. Don't you think?
What?
That's why I should have been a 5%er.
Why?
Because God is me. I'm God.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
We are children of God, as they would say in the book. No, not that way.
We're not children of God. I'm God.
That's the God. The God coming out of heaven, like they say in the college.
All that stuff. I'm not sure what you're talking about right now. It was like, you know what? Me.
Yo.
Children of.
Yeah, I wonder that because you got to ask if you can have a sit down with God. Like, there's certain questions you got to ask. Like, yo, slavery, really?
That's what I was saying earlier. But you didn't want to hear all that. You was like, it's part of God's plan. But I was like, no. I mean, come on, that's really the plan?
That's what I'm saying.
We're going left right now. Slap him. We were trying to stall to wait for Kim to come back, but Kim ain't coming back.
Kim's like,
soon.
F y'all. Y'all don't want to let me come on with my bum ass camera and
she's like, I'm
set
out.
up. I'm out. Kim, come back. Yo, we was just playing. Damn. All right, we can't do too much.
We're gonna take your first break, and then
I
get
guess so.
together with the stories. We're gonna see if Kim comes.
I mean, I done started off with a freestyle.
That was a good
mix.
freestyle, B. That was hot.
Thank you. Well, I try.
Do a little break, and then let me get the news together.
Oh, okay, do that, and then
yeah.
I'll go ahead and
we're gonna get
together.
this party started, and hopefully Kim will come back.
Yeah.
Black Liberation Media.
And guess what? If not, we can go ahead and put the link out for those people that's looking like they possibly want to get on and be one of the hosts. No,
we can put the link, but nobody responded yesterday. People were like, I just prefer to shoot shots from the chat and be anonymous. You know what I mean? I want to be anonymous.
I get it.
All
right, let's go ahead and get to it right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Cruising down the Ave with my homeboy. Yo, what's good? Welcome out. This is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We got 248 people watching live right now, so we need 251 likes because a couple more people just came in the building. Also, you can go to our website and donate, blkliberationmedia.org. and rock out with us over there. And you know why? Because we're demonetized. We've been giving them the real for too long. So they say, you know what? Cut them. All right, with that said, let me go ahead and talk about a certain person that you might not talk about ever. Let's talk about no other than BB Drake. That's right. This actress right here. She actually, her name is Beatrice Drake. Her mom was a teacher, social worker, community activist, and doing a thing out in Sacramento. So she got raised in a pretty nice family, and she attended actually Sacramento City College and then California State University, Sacramento. So she got her education on. She made her debut in a play in 1970 called The First Breeze of Summer. And then after that, she was later cast as a member of short-lived sitcoms, one called Snip, and then Sanford Arms. That was the joint after Sanford and Son. But yo, she's been on TV for a while now. You talking about even doing movies. I mean, in the movie, she came out to Report the Commissioner and Friday Foster. And she was on the opposite of Richard Pryor in The Which Way Is Up. Now, that was a great show, movie right there. You got to check that out if you haven't. But she's made many TV appearances. She was on Welcome Back Carter, The Love Boat, Jeffersons, L.A. Law, Jamie Foxx Show, Steve Harvey, Bernie Mac Show. And she also appeared in JoJo Dancer movie. Y'all know her for Boomerang when she went to the bathroom and came back a little sweaty. You know what I'm saying? But yo, that is a bunch of movies she's done. And I know you've been wondering what is even her name, haven't you? You really been wondering that. Well, that is what it is. She also had a recurring role on Different World and Martin. And she also got to play Harriet Tubman, yo. She's done it all, man. So big up to this sister. And big up to this scene right here, in case you haven't seen it. This right here is her doing her Thug Thizzle back in the day. Let me show you. When she was on no other than Good Times at Savannah Jones.
Who is that? That's you. That ain't hardly me. You jiving me, sucker.
Big up to Savannah Jones, aka BB Drake. Now let's get back to it right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Yeah. Kim, we got you. We got you back, Kim. What's good?
Yo,
All right, we ain't got no video of you. But,
I know on purpose. You're not gonna have none. I'm shout out to Saturdays with Renee. I'm taking inspiration from Renee Johnson right now. Fuck you niggas. Okay. Come out. That's for you too. Fuck you too, bro. You want to.
So should we put a box on the screen?
You bring her
or just leave
icon
us-
on stage at Leah. Bring her icon on
All
stage.
right. God damn. Here we go. Bam.
Y'all lucky I came back because you know I almost did not come back.
Why did
Why?
you not come back?
Because y'all, I mean, when I enter the jam and y'all immediately talking shit, like what?
When don't
we
we?
was trying to be helpful.
Nah. Oh, really?
I
Really?
I just noticed the
Really?
camera placement was, in another place, and I was trying to be helpful. That's all I was trying to do. Kim,
All right.
you know how I feel.
Nah,
about
I
it.
don't know.
You know-
Oh, Kim, really?
Nah.
Oh my God!
What?
You know the love is real. The love is so deep and real.
This
You
is
know that.
Is this a Kim
Yeah.
clone? She act like she don't know us.
I know. How did I
Reset
say I love you
and
to
start
death?
over
To death. I was just trying to offer a little constructive support because of my background expertise in camera and technical stuff like that. So,
I'm not aware of any said expertise.
Sir.
I don't know you to be an expert on either
on
of those
nothing.
things.
On nothing.
He know how to
All
talk
the books
good.
back there, ain't none
On
of them.
nothing with the F, not even the TH. Nothing.
All them books back there don't nothing say.
Nothing.
And lighting.
He know how to talk
man.
good on the megaphone though. He's
Damn
all right.
book on none of that things.
Word.
But
Well,
anyway, how y'all feeling? It's Thursday.
yes,
we
it
made
is. I'm feeling great. Feeling good. How are you?
You.
Yo, anyway, last time I seen Kim was last week classical breakdown where we broke down Redman. Had a good time doing that. So if y'all ain't checked that out, go check it out.
YouTube left it up. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
you know, YouTube been since we demonetized, they like fuck them.
Don't get it.
Like do what they want to do over there.
We're not gonna promote it.
Yeah,
We're not
so
gonna give no algorithm love to it. Y'all just do what you want, whatever.
Makes
Y'all
it
get a
stand
crowd
up,
and freaking
everything.
I do
love it.
get the notifications for the channel though. Anytime something happens on the channel, at least YouTube is still telling folks. I would imagine
Subscribers.
that, when the channel goes live. So
Okay, good.
some hate.
All right, that's good. Well, I guess y'all got some news to get to. So
Definitely got that.
Our stage, yeah. Oh, you got it. Okay. Stage left even.
Peace. Ha ha. Kamal got to sit with the circle.
I know. I don't like the circle. I even prefer your faraway camera angle to the circle.
Yeah, but because the camera was coming from the built-in camera on the laptop, it's a most unflattering angle. And I'm like, I'm not sitting here fidgeting with this shit for another 20 fucking minutes. So, we come on. Shout out to Renee. Renee taught us we ain't got to cut our cameras on out this job. You know what I'm saying? So
And Renee knows how I feel about that. I was like, Renee, you done 50 shows with your camera on. How you think now, all of a sudden, because you don't put it on no more, that you like the spook that's out behind the door? Nobody gonna recognize who you are. I was like, you already done like 50 shows with your camera on.
with her government name, no
With
less.
her government name, there were no last word. You on other videos, you promoting other things, but all of a sudden you think this camera thing gonna be like aha, now I'm secret again. I was like, what? It's like, okay.
Secret agent. Let's go. Well, Ear Doctor, let's go on to two-step into the news, bruv.
Slap the map.
Peace and good morning, everybody. Today is I don't know what day it is. Today's the 16th
Thursday.
of January, 2025, 8:30 in the AM Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to the Remix Morning Show, Thursday edition. Black Liberation Media, BID WKB on your screen next to Kamal K. Franklin. Ear Doctor in the cut, remixers in the chat. We appreciate you guys. waking up, joining us, and big up to everyone that's watching us from across the country. Our folks in the Central Standard Time, Mountain Time, our folks on the West Side. Shout out to our folks in Cali that is, struggling and surviving bad times in Cali right now. So we are sending our solidarity and love, especially to all the folks that are displaced. Kamau, I mean, this is a climate catastrophe that is causing internal displacement and migration within the country of tens of thousands of people. I wonder if folks are viewing it that way. You know what I mean? When we talk about climate disasters causing people to move from where they are, this is that. This is one of those things happening right now in front of us.
No, most definitely is. And if folks don't recognize it as such, it's just out of pure ignorance. I think there's also debate, discussion about how the fires started, but there's no doubt that the fact that the intensity of the fires are really about climate change and climate disaster, and even the fact that over the last decade or so, that these climate these fires, or whatever I should say, these wildfires are no longer, as folks have said, seasonal. Practically they're year round, and that's mainly because of climate changes, and again, human-made decisions, not only altering the climate, but altering even the ways in which people live around the climate. So many of these homes are going deep into areas that they cleared out only for the purposes of having people live, people who are well off live in certain areas, and live in certain ways with certain mountaintop views and so forth. Well, that stuff that comes with some danger to it. And so, there has to be a way in which, in a smart way that, again, that people, when the rebuilding happens, that the rebuilding is done in a way that's affordable for people. I'm putting this out here, but I know the authorities are not going to be trying to do it like this. But where they're, the rebuilding is for the betterment of working class people, and the ways that it's rebuilt is better for the climate. So that would be my hope,
But see, again, that's kind of why, I mean, I hate to say burn it down, but the problem is that this and other climate disasters, what happened with what was the hurricane? Now I'm drawing a blank. The hurricane that came through the mountains, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Hurricane Helene, that came through the mountains and washed away parts of Appalachia. And I'm even thinking about some of the hurricanes that hit the Gulf Coast, particularly in the Houston area, where, lo and behold, entire communities were built on floodplains. Did anyone know that? Of course, people fucking knew it. And they've known it for decades, right? But in the interest of developing the land and making money, houses and communities were built on places that someone in the past knew that the potential for this kind of scenario was possible in the future, right? And so just to say, saying that we hoping folks can rebuild, I mean, but rebuild for what? If the next thing, if such a repeat could happen in 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, right? What would even be the point of rebuilding if people are going to experience the same thing in a short span of time? So, I mean, I really think we have to rethink this whole shit, right? Like we have to rethink it all, because if we are just rebuilding to rebuild, then that is not looking ahead in a pragmatic sort of way. If you're just going to be constantly in a state of rebuilding, and with the insurance companies refusing to cover some homes or communities affected by fire damage, then you rebuild with what? You know what I mean? With what resources? So I'm not sure where this leaves people.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the city, what really probably will happen is that the city will allow private development to come back, paid for by private money, subsidized by public money, owned by private money. And like you said, in 20 years, 15 years, maybe even not that long anymore, some of this will be repeated, because the new people who move in will be told, you know, that, oh, this is different from what it was before, or the material we're using is different, or because they've gone ahead and cut down more trees, further altering climate related disasters in different ways. And that's usually what the solution is. It's like, it's not to stop building in these areas, it's to do something even more dramatic, which is to say, hey, you know why these things are happening? It's not because of us, it's because there's too many trees.
Oh
And
my
what
God.
they'll do is deforest a whole area, and say, look, we've solved the problem. We've solved the problem by deforesting the area. Now you don't have to worry about your houses getting burnt down. That's the capitalist logic. It's not to stop building. It's not to say, hey, this forested area should be protected because it does so much for the environment. It does so much for clean air. It does so much just to make sure that things are running in a regulated way in which the patterns of the earth intended it to. Capitalist logic is like, oh, no, we'll just alter that permanently, whether or not those things are dams or cutting down acres of forest. That to me becomes the decision that they'll make, as opposed to some wise decision that's more along the lines of we're going to protect the environment and not build the way we did before, and think about all the other ways in which the human impact has affected environmental change on the earth. That, you know, those things are like that's out the question. That's not really something that they're going to be thinking about in that way.
It's nauseating. It really is. And I don't know. I mean, I empathize for folks that are in the midst of this right now in Southern California. The fires are still raging. Very little containment, I believe, on each of the major fires. And then the craziness that it's motherfuckers out here setting these fires, Kamau. I don't think that's been confirmed.
That's what I've heard. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like anything you've heard or read or anything? Because that I've heard that, but no one has said.
So
no one has given
apparently-
a lot of evidence, I guess, or whatever.
So it's unconfirmed reports, I believe, but I do know that alcohol, tobacco, and firearms are out investigating along with the FBI. There was a video circulating of some rando white guy in one of the canyons following behind one of the bulldozers that had cleared like a fire trail, and he was approached by a resident, and the guy was like, I don't have any lighter fluid in my backpack. And it's like it was like, oh, okay, weirdo, you're not sounding too convincing there. But if these fires were started by arson, it wouldn't be the first time. Like, come out, like, this shit is crazy. When you look, like, a lot of wildfires historically, even in recent history, let's say even the last 5-10 years, have been intentionally started by people. And when by people, I mean whites. And I don't understand. I don't fucking understand. Like, it's the wildest shit. Like, why in the world would you ever want to start a wildfire? Like, it's so demonic, and it's beyond reason. But I'm not certain if anyone has been charged in connection with these fires. I know that one of the power companies in Southern California has been sued for failing to turn off power when it was made apparent that shit was going south. But it would not shock me if someone or someone's multiple people would be arrested, or at least considered for intentionally starting these fires.
Well, I just pulled up a story that says at least at this particular time, and apparently not the big fires, but two more, it says, arrested on arson charges in LA amid wildfire danger. And the story briefly reads, 2 more people are behind bars for allegedly setting small fires in Los Angeles amid high fire danger conditions, and as crews continued efforts to contain a pair of major blazes that have killed 24 people and destroyed thousands of structures. Los Angeles police officers responded at 5:15 p.m. Where a resident had detained a suspect who allegedly set fire to a tree. The resident was able to douse the fire and call police. When officers arrived, the suspect admitted setting the fire, saying he liked the smell of burning leaves, as you related earlier. At 9:30 p.m. Tuesday, officers responded to Santa Monica Boulevard and Vernon Avenue, where a suspect was setting fire to piles of rubbish and trash. Officers were able to douse the fire. And the person said that she who told the officer she enjoyed causing chaos and destruction.
Jesus.
There are people out here who this is what they do, McDonald said. So again, so again, some of these fires may have been set by people. And again, I think some part of the history, like you said, in recent years has been also via power companies and also campfires and other things like that. That sometimes not intentional, but people who are out in camps or hiking and doing small fires don't douse them properly. But again, it's some of this, even with all of the human, the individual human parts played, most of this is the catastrophe of the conditions because of environmental changes that have even allowed the fires to extend again from seasonal to year round. And then you have some of these larger fires done by caused by the ways in which power companies themselves, in the past at least, have allowed their lines to not be protected. And when something goes down and it starts a fire, and things have set ablaze.
It's nasty work. And I don't know what to say. Like, I mean, fuck the cost, even though it is going to be billions and billions of dollars. It's going to be years before some of these communities are rebuilt, if they're rebuilt at all. But again, like, if you got crackers coming through and setting the fucking fires, like it's just like with it, well, I don't know what you can do about that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you stop that. You know, you're gonna have to start racially profiling fucking whites with camping gear, and we know
how they feel about that.
we know California Highway Patrol, LAPD, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, they're not prepared to do what needs to be done. To get a hand on
that'll
these
never
whites.
happen.
Have you seen though the private fire departments and the private security, private, like it's also nasty work, might I say. Like, there are private firefighting companies on standby. $2,000 an hour is the going rate that I thought I heard. I'm not sure if that's for one firefighter. I'm not sure if that's for a company of firefighters. I'm not sure where these private firefighting companies are getting their water. Like, I have a lot of questions. But the mega wealthy are like, yeah, all that public safety, no, not good enough for us. We're going to employ the private firefighting companies, and all the misreporting about looting and all this shit. Like, from what I understand, there's no looting going on. You might see some kids trying to roll through, but you know, they got 400 LAPD out there guarding the neighborhood. Ain't nobody getting through to sift through the ashes to see what they can find.
Well, I'll read this story that, based on what you said. So, private firefighters spark controversy amid devastating LA fires. And basically, the story says, to protect the high-end shopping center, several private water tankers equipped with 3,000 gallons of water in each were brought in to fend off encroaching blazes. To fend off the encroaching blaze. It says, our property is standing, Caruso told the New York Times. Caruso, somebody associated with the property. Everything around us is gone. It's like a war zone. Caruso did not immediately respond to a request for comment from ABC News on Sunday. He posted on X that he was committing $5 million to Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation. And so, amid the devastation of fires in which thousands of Californians have lost their homes, private firefighting companies have provoked controversy and ire, a symbol of the gaping disparity between the lives of the city's wealthiest residents and those left struggling to rebuild. The majority of private firefighters don't actually work to serve individual customers, experts told ABC News. In most cases, they're contracted by the government, aiding local firefighter crews or insurance companies, typically working to avert damage. But some private firefighters offer their services to individuals, a practice that has shocked and infuriated many as its existence has entered the public eye. In 2018, so-called concierge firefighting saved Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's Hidden Hills mansion, along with several neighbors' homes during the Woolsey wildfire, according to reports at the time. On Tuesday, real estate investor Keith Wasserman sparked widespread anger after posting to X about it. Does anyone have access to private firefighters to protect our homes? Need to act fast here. All neighbors' houses burning. We'll pay any amount, he wrote in a now deleted post. Wasserman's post inspired backlash, with users slamming the businessman as out of touch. He later deleted his account.
Damn.
Wasserman did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Due to the private nature of these services, it is not clear how widespread the use of private firefighters has been in battling the Los Angeles fires. Prices are not openly listed and can vary widely, likely costing several thousand a day, the New York Times reported.
Well, if you have to ask how much it costs, you can afford it.
Here it says, I'll wrap up with this part. Someone says, I'll be honest with you, we get a lot of calls and circumstances like this from private landlords who are interested in hiring some private resources to help mitigate fire risk. Deborah Miley, executive director of National Wildfire Suppression Association, an organization representing over 300 private firefighter companies, told ABC News. And so you have it as the public, and this is the neoliberal way, of course, right? So as resources are dwindling for and are not put towards, because I shouldn't say dwindling. It's not like they don't have the resources. They've decided to put the resources elsewhere. They've decided not to tax rich people to the extent that they can. And so rich folks, big companies are basically diverting resources, which you're right. That means water captured from other resources towards saving their individual homes, their individual property, which means it's not in any strategic alliance whatsoever on what the larger public needs are. It's all about whether or not these private companies and or private individuals get to save their homes in these areas, which all around them, people are losing their homes, but they can't afford to hire these private firefighters.
Concierge firefighters come out. Wow. Like that is a mind-blowing concept. And again, like, obviously there's a myriad of communities being impacted by these fires, the Black community of Altadena being one, but in the Palisades, Pacific Palisades is supposed to be an affluent community of, somewhat wealthy whites, if not outright wealthy whites. And I'm sure they like, the fuck? Like, we not even rich enough to get the private firefighting, the concierge firefighting. We don't even have enough money. Y'all don't have enough money. Wow.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I was going to transition because speaking of the war zone, I wanted us to talk about the ceasefire that was announced yesterday that has already seemed to have possibly already fallen apart by this morning. We're getting reports of course, who broke the ceasefire. We already know who did that shit. Israel, because ceasefires only mean Israel's opponents need to stop shooting. It never means that the Israeli forces stop shooting. Ceasefire is for other folks. Isn't that right, Israel? So whilst Palestinians were celebrating in the Gaza Strip yesterday about the announcement of the ceasefire, Israeli forces, IDF forces, struck and killed, I believe, dozens, killed too many people. I'm not certain about the official number. Maybe you can pull it up, but already it seems like the ceasefire has been broken. We're getting reports that Hamas says that, we didn't even agree to this shit, really. So I know that the Biden administration was seemingly trying to get this W on their way out the door, but it doesn't seem to have held, or it's holding on by a string. I'm not sure exactly what the latest is.
Yeah, I'll pull up. I have a story here that I was going to pull up for it, but like you're right, it's not only just the Biden administration who wanted to get the W for it, but also apparently in the background, the Trump administration has been pushing for the ceasefire or a deal for a ceasefire, so that they, on their way in, did not have to deal with this, and they can also claim at some point some so-called victory in stopping the war on Gaza. Again, something that apparently the Biden administration could not pull off with all the mechanisms and means that it has at its disposal. Could not pull off for a year and a half. But apparently, with 4 days left in their administration, they could pull off some semblance of a ceasefire. And so I'll pull up this Al Jazeera story really quick before we get into more of an analysis of it. And it says, and what do we know about the Israeli-Hamas ceasefire deal in Gaza? Gaza ceasefire agreed to, according to Al Jazeera, including a prisoner exchange and aid surge after more than 460 days of conflict. And for those who can see this picture of pure devastation of a mother sitting with a child in Gaza and families all around behind. So it says Israel and the Palestinian group Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire deal with Israel. Qatar and the United States have said after more than 460 days of a war that has devastated Gaza. And I will say, there's a piece in the New York Times that speaks about the obvious, in a sense, that estimates show that so far that the amount of Palestinians who've been murdered, which is not how the New York Times article pulled that up later on, should be increased to over 20% of what the already estimates are, saying that the numbers are probably somewhere closer to 58,000. There's many who believe that those numbers are on the low end.
Hundreds of thousands potentially.
Yeah, there are people who believe over hundreds of thousands have been killed. The official count is approximately 46 to 47,000. We are being told that that's a low count, and that's an obvious low count. But the numbers are much higher. And then again, after the rubble is cleared and bodies are truly being pulled out, and which will probably be at a staggering rate, we're going to truly know the accurate number of the devastation. But obviously, I think we've seen that devastation over the last year and a half. So basically, it's the Qatar's prime minister said on Wednesday that the ceasefire deal would come into effect on Sunday, but added that work on implementation steps with Israel and Hamas was continuing. Israel says that some final details remain, and an Israel government vote is expected on Thursday today. Here stated Israel has killed more than 46,000 Palestinians since its war on the enclave began in October 2023. It says the first phase of the deal, the initial phase, will last 6 weeks and will involve a limited prisoner exchange and partial withdrawal of Israeli troops in Gaza and a surge of aid into the enclave. It says 33 Israeli captives, including women, children, and civilians over the age of 50, taken during the Hamas-led attack on southern Israel on October 7, 2023, will be released in exchange. Israel will release a large number of Palestinian prisoners during this phase, including prisoners serving life sentences. Among the Palestinians being released are around 1,000 who were detained after October 7th. And it says, in tandem with the exchange of captives, Israel will withdraw its forces from Gaza's population centers to areas no more than 700 meters inside Gaza's border with Israel. However, they may exclude the Nazarian corridor, the militarized belt, bisecting the strip and controlling movement along it. The withdrawal from that area is expected to take place in stages. Israel will allow civilians to return to their homes in the enclaves and besieged north, where aid agencies warn famine may take hold and allow a surge of aid in the enclave, upwards of 600 trucks per day. And it says what happens after the first phase. Details of the second and third phase, though understood to be agreed to in principle, are to be negotiated during the first phase. U.S. President Joe Biden has said that the ceasefire will continue even if the negotiations on the second and third phase go beyond the initial 6 weeks of the first phase. Critically, Israel has insisted that no written guarantees be given to rule out a resumption of its attacks once the first phase is completed and the civilian captives return. So in other words, Israel will release people, but then there's nothing that stops them from immediately attempting to recapture those people, as they've done in prior so-called ceasefires or in the prior times when some cessation of war has taken place. So I'll wrap up with a couple of things. It says, however, according to an Egyptian source cited by the Associated Press, the three mediators involved in the talks, Egypt, Qatar, and the United States, have given Hamas verbal guarantees that negotiations will continue and that all three would press for a deal that would see the second and third phase implemented before an initial 6-week window has elapsed. And so I'll wrap up here. It says the conditions which have yet to be voted upon by the Israel cabinet are at odds with the stated positions of many of the far right-wing members of the Israeli President Netanyahu's cabinet, which he relies upon for support. It says the third phase, should the conditions of the second stage be met, the third phase will see the bodies of the remaining captors handed over in return for 3 to 5 year construction plan to be conducted under international supervision. And so we can go, we can stop there, I guess. And so again, an official ceasefire has been at least said to have happened. What that really means in terms of the conditions for Palestinians, again, the lack of control over their lives, the devastation that has happened, that won't stop until all of Palestine is free. And thank you, Erica, for joining us. I appreciate you coming on. I'll let you jump in anytime with some more analysis of what we think is happening also.
Yeah, I just wanted to just note the ceasefire itself is not set to start until Sunday. So the Biden administration is going to go until its very last day with supporting this genocide. Because immediately after, we see that Trump will be taking office on the 20th as the inauguration. So, yeah. And we all know that when the ceasefire calls are made, they're given a date. And up until that point, we see Israel become rabid dogs and just brutally attack, brutally kill indiscriminately. And I think that's what we're seeing now in the midst of celebrations from Gazans and Palestinians across the West Bank. Israel continued to bomb. And they're not obligated to stop up until the 19th. So we have until Sunday to actually see this cease. But nonetheless, it has been very, I don't know. I think the use of joy in this last couple months, thanks to the Harris Waltz campaign, has kind of been snatched away from what it would actually mean. What is a revolutionary joy? And I think that we are seeing that in displays of the viral videos that are going on, the embrace of the resistance, the voices of the people, the children even, who are like, no, we're going to rebuild and it's going to be better than ever, and we can't wait to get back to the North. So we see that is the ceasefire happened for a multitude of reasons, but I do think it's important to note that this is not something that Biden did. And I think that Biden and Harris administration are attempting to take credit with the help of mainstream media for this, but this is not something that they did. I also think that it does dispel the notion that Israel is controlling the U.S. There was a particular reason why the U.S. would continue, and I think this is what we point to when we have these sort of geopolitical conversations and analysis of why the importance of Israel to the U.S. for that region, to be able to control that region. So we're seeing that kind of got flipped on its head, that it is possible to stop Israel, right? For 15 months, the Biden administration made it seem like, no, we can't do anything. This man is just he's a loose cannon. We can't control him. We can't stop him from coming to the U.S. in spite of the ICC arrest warrant, etc. And what I think to Trump's selfishness, which could be used to our benefit, is that even in his approach with NATO, this is about putting America first and the U.S. first, which means that he has no intention of continuing to just blindly write checks, which is, I think, is what the conversation with Netanyahu was, that we're not going to continue to just keep writing out checks. That's not going to happen, which in turn, with the help of his son-in-law and has brought to the to the forefront. A ceasefire agreement that was proposed by Hamas in March, and then again in May, and then again in July. So this is the exact same ceasefire proposal that we seen earlier of last year that's being presented again, as if this is something that the Biden administration worked tirelessly to see happen. But again, this is not going to affect until the very last day of this administration.
So they have a ceasefire agreement in place, Israel, with Hezbollah, and they continue to bomb and commit attacks within Lebanon. So whether or not a ceasefire is on the books, it's on paper, people have signed to it, Israel doesn't adhere to such things. Like they don't, that's for other people. That's for Hamas to abide by the ceasefire. That's for Hezbollah to abide by the ceasefire. Israel has an option to abide by it. And it seems as though when they violate these ceasefire agreements, there's no consequence. Nothing happens. No one's coming to condemn, sanction, do anything about that. So even if the ceasefire, the agreement holds up until the day it's supposed to go into effect, expect the Israelis to continue to still attack Gazans and still continue to attack very sensitive structures. I mean, the reports coming out of, and I can't recall the name of the hospital because there's been so many that have been attacked and burned, and their patients have been executed along with the healthcare workers there. But another reports of mass rape against Palestinian women and girls committed by the Israeli forces after they yet raided another hospital, attacked the patients, attacked the healthcare workers. And when I see the reports of these ceasefire negotiations on TV, on mainstream media, they never mention the fact that Netanyahu and the IDF forces have been charged with war crimes internationally. It never comes up. There was an interview I saw going around, I think it was from 60 Minutes, and I think it was from a former member of the State Department who has recently departed, but it's not because of whatever. It's not, he claims it's not because of, what's going on in Israel, but the issue of adhering to international law came up, and the reporter never mentioned the fact that, again, Netanyahu has arrest warrants out for him along with members of his cabinet and his government. And the obtuseness, the deliberate ignoring of international law, because again, that's shit that other countries have to abide by, not America, not Israel. And it's just interesting to me that the way that these atrocities are never brought into full scope and context in the form of people in this country fully understanding what Israel has done and and probably will continue to do under the and then the terms of the ceasefire. I'm like, these don't sound like good terms, but I'm gonna mind my business because I'm not from Gaza. I'm gonna shut up. But this notion of a buffer zone I'm like, what buffer zone? Like how can you even say buffer zone with a straight face when the whole territory is occupied and Palestinians are not going to have freedom of movement? They're not going to have freedom of regular things that people expect under human rights. And the terms didn't sound great to me, but I said, I'm gonna be quiet because people are happy. So I don't know. But when the West celebrates something, I always am skeptical.
No, I mean, I think obviously all the negotiators are in the U.S. pocket or part of the U.S. system of Western hegemony.
Yeah.
Egypt, Qatar. They're not some Jordan. Jordan. They're not by any stretch of the imagination pro-Palestinian, ideologically speaking, even if particularly in terms of Jordan, that's blood, and that's sold out blood right there. You know what I mean? And so say that to say there's a yes. So I don't think there's any expectation that this is a quote unquote fair deal. But of course, people are looking for some relief from the year and a half of overt torture. And bombs flying every day, and anything that seems to suggest that more aid or more food, that some rebuilding can happen, even if limited. I think that is what people are celebrating. But I think you're completely right. This is going to be used, of course, by Israel to further control the Gaza, and in some ways to at some point to further depopulate, to further encroach on the land and start to have Israeli settlers. So for them, this is a bargain of sort of a respite in hostilities that allows for more building to happen. But again, for the resistance, this is also maybe a period for rebuilding, re-strategizing, rethinking what comes next for the resistance. Again, I do hold that this has in some ways been a devastating period in terms of this resistance. It doesn't mean the resistance is over by any stretch, but now there is a rethinking that has to happen around how the resistance operates, the important players, new channels in which the resistance rearms itself. I think all of that now is part of what this period we're slowly going to be entering into will become. And then I was going to one quick comment. I don't know if there's not a lot of details, but I think Ricky alluded to this, and I think even folks in the chat have around what is the role that the Saudis have played secretly, particularly with their dealings with Trump. And if one of those dealings with Trump and Kushner is, look, we will continue to feed you as we have been feeding you in terms of resources, opportunities here to do work in Saudi Arabia, and access to that oil money. I think that will continue to take place and happen. And maybe the Saudis said something finally around it can be extended under these particular circumstances. But I think that information will only come out in the near future.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that everybody's cutting deals right now. I mean, there's a whole balkanization of Syria that's occurring with Turkey and Qatar involved and Egypt involved as well with the U.S. So I do think it is important to note that. And by no means am I saying that Trump will not continue to. Trump has a deep personal investment in Israel or with Israel, right? Which is different from a U.S. interest in Israel. So his personal interest in Israel is going to supersede a lot. And his personal interest in Israel is going to determine how he maneuvers. But what the contradiction has shown, at least with the Biden administration, is that the people were right about the Harris-Walz administration. And they're continuing to fund this genocide. And they planned on continuing to fund this genocide. So people who took a stance principally to not vote behind that and then were mocked, right? That, it's going to get worse under Trump, has now seen that, well, Biden, in fact, had no plan to stop this shit at no point. So that principal stand was indeed valid to have taken. And it's also important to note that what this ceasefire, whatever conversation Netanyahu and Trump are having, yes, is a determinant. But also what is a determinant is that Israel has lost a lot economically and militarily. Like there were mothers of IOF soldiers, about 800 of them, that sent a letter that my child is not coming back. Every time that they thought they were getting into those tunnels, like they could not capture the north. They depleted the north, but they could not capture the north. And every day there was about 200 people joining the resistance. They couldn't stop that, and they can't stop that. Right. And even what we're seeing now with this reprieve, which is a necessary reprieve. But everybody has interest. Everybody, because shit has shifted, especially with Syria.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what is happening?
You brought up some really, I'm so sorry. Go ahead. You finish.
No, but I was going to say a lot of shit has shifted quickly. Right. So we're seeing things unfold in ways that, we have to actually pay attention to what is unfolding and the material circumstances in which they are unfolding, right? There are no good guys in this in terms of the U.S., in terms of the allies and things like that. It is the resistance stronghold that has kept this up. It is Yemen, that has kept this going. So I do think it's important to note that there is no delusion about the Trump administration, but it is the point to highlight these contradictions because we have to sharpen them.
Yeah, no, I was really quickly, because I think you made maybe the best point to be made on this. First is that Israel is still depopulating. The immigration is flowing outward, not inward. And so people should, obviously, like you said, keep that in mind. And folks are saying that they will not be returning. And so there is some victory there in terms of that. But but what you said about the Biden administration was so spot on. The call is that how worse things are going to get under the Trump administration. But apparently this war is going on, this war on Gaza, until the very last day of the Biden administration. And then in some form, the level of hostilities are actually going down after the Biden administration leaves, which is a complete 180 from what we were told by the Biden supporters as the reason to vote for Biden. So Biden is officially let this war happen, guided this war, I should say. Biden and Harris have guided this war until the very end of their administration. The very end of their administration. At no point did they get a ceasefire and or make a ceasefire happen, which they always had the power to do during their administration. Their thing is that until the last day of their administration, Israel was given a free hand to do whatever it wanted, wherever it wanted, and the U.S. guided that, supported that, instructed that. I want to stop saying let that happen. They were a part of that genocide. They were leading that genocide, and so it's a very interesting and good point to make that all of the folks that told us to vote for Harris, because it'd be so much worse under Trump, at least in this early iteration of a so-called ceasefire. It's the time period where things are not getting worse, that there is some cessation of arms, again, at least for a short time period, which is going to happen under Trump, not under Biden.
Yeah, which is exactly why they try to propagate it as if this is something that Biden did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, be sure to hang the legacy of the genocide around Biden's neck like an albatross, the legacy of the 94 crime bill. All of this, we're saying goodbye to this wonderful statesman. Fuck Joe Biden, okay? Every day, and may the rest of his days be filled with insomnia and incontinence. Like, fuck him. Like, it's wild to be this send off to Joe Biden. Fuck Joe Biden. Look at what he did. Look at how he spent his entire administration funding and overseeing a genocide. So there's nothing laudable and stately about that.
But speaking of laudable and stately, let's bring on the ear doctor.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, there you go. It's a good thing. It was a good thing.
It's a good thing? Okay, I'll take it. I'll believe you this time. Listen, I don't know if any other news station or whatever is fucking with this click right here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all wanted news, we gave it to y'all. You know what I mean? From international to national. That's why we do it right here on Remix Morning Show. So what we're going to do is we're going to cool off the barrels of these bowers, and we're going to come back and take a quick break and come back with some more right here on No Other Than the Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
Pow, pow, pow.
Is it time for a remix on the remix? I believe so. Let's go.
Never had much faith in love for miracles. Now I wanna put my heart on the line. Swimming in your world, something spiritual. I'm gonna get every time you spend the night. But your sex takes me to paradise. Yeah, your sex takes me to paradise and show. Yeah. Cause you make me feel like.
Feel like what?
I've been locked out of hell.
For how long?
For too long.
For what?
For too long.
One more time.
Yeah, you make me feel like.
Feel like what?
I've been locked out of hell.
For what?
For too long. For too long.
Okay. Let me take you to a time and place. Let me take you back to 2005 with that Big Boy presents Purple Ribbon, Got Perp Volume 2. Name of that song is Body Rock. That's mixed with a little bit of 2012. We talking about Bruno Mars off that album. Damn, this word about to fuck me up. It's a jukebox, I'll tell you that much. But it's Locked Out of Heaven is the name of the song. I can't even spell this damn name. It's UNORTH. Oh man, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna let my friends come back and help me out on that one. Yo, but anyway, hit like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there. And also, you can donate at blkliberationmedia.org. And yes, we are demonetized, so that will help. All right, with that said, let's get back to it. As I get joked for not being able to say this word. All right, let's get it.
Is it unorthodox? What's the word?
Yes, it is. Unorthodox jukebox.
Oh Lord. Yeah, doctor, you've never seen the word unorthodox in print before?
I did.
It was written on report cards and
that was a good one. That was a good one. his way of thinking is unorthodox.
Like, Mama, I don't know what that word means.
Second grade through 12th grade, yes.
Mom, they call me unorthodox.
She's like, I know, baby. I know. I know.
Listen, man.
Look at the card.
I moved down south in high school, man.
I don't even know what that has to do with anything, sir. You've never seen the word unorthodox in print before?
You just took a shot at the South.
I'm telling y'all, yo, they would take points off of words if you ain't spelling them wrong. They wouldn't just mark off the whole. It'd be like, all right, listen, take a point off because you didn't put a certain letter there. So,
well, that's spelling the word wrong if you missed the letter.
Exactly. Why take point off?
I
don't know. Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, listen.
Anyway,
I ain't got nothing to say.
The mix.
You like the mix?
Of Bruno Mars.
Thank you. Bruno.
Poor Bruno, man.
Is he on the yay? What's wrong with him?
MGM got him in the stronghold. I saw Elon said, "Don't get me started," but MGM got him in the stronghold. They got that man locked down for years. He can't perform nowhere else but that. But MGM.
Why? What happened? Contract?
He's in the contract. He had the contract for like years.
He getting paid in powder though? Like, I mean,
he's trying to get out the contract.
Allegedly, you know, according to the Reddits.
Oh, word. He on that candy.
He owe a couple millions to a couple casinos around Vegas. And then he still he owes MGM just in general. Like, he's under contract. So he has to work there until that's done. That's why when he did the album with the other boy, what's his name?
Anderson .Paak.
Yeah.
Right. When they were the group, they didn't do a tour. They just did the MGM because Bruno is under contract.
Wow.
Let my man free. Also, when I was in Cuba, our driver had Bruno Mars every album on an MP3. We was rocking, me and the driver. So Cuba loves Bruno too.
That's unorthodox.
Interesting.
I like Bruno Mars.
Yeah, he's like a light-skinned James Brown.
Ooh, well, I guess. I don't know.
He's doing a lot. I think he's doing a lot.
It's very unorthodox.
He's James Beige. I'm done here. I'm about to go learn some more words. I'll catch y'all later.
Peace, Air Doctor. All right, remixers. We appreciate y'all staying with us, being with us, joining with us, chatting with us. Ricky Ryan has came out to chat today to join us. We appreciate it. Kamal Franklin, Kim Brown, Air Doctor, Unorthodox out this junk. And thank you, remixers. So do us a favor, engage with the show, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share like you care, said a wise man once, several times. Stories. Where are we going for the next story, everybody?
Well, I do have a local story that I thought was interesting. So apparently the president or the CEO of Walmart, or Walgreens, Walgreens, has stated publicly that Walgreens admits locking up items was a mistake. When you lock things up, you don't sell as many of them. So it says on the quarterly earnings call, the CEO of Walgreens conceded that putting items behind lock and key has hurt the company's sales because no one wants to shop in a store where even the toothpaste is behind glass. The retail pharmacy chain Walgreens had its quarterly earnings call on Friday, the day after announcing they were closing over 1,200 stores nationwide. And at the earnings call explained that why they were closing so many stores. Walgreens has lost $240 million this quarter compared to a loss of just $39 million in the same quarter the previous year. Walgreens Boots Alliance CEO Tim Wentworth admitted on the call one big reason why their sales have slumped so much over the last year. Wentworth conceded that the store's wildly unpopular policy of locking up so many retail items to prevent shoplifting has also significantly hurt Walgreens sales, as CBS reports. When you lock things up again, for example, you don't sell as many of them. Wentworth said, according to the transcript, we've kind of proven that pretty conclusively. Conclusively. So it says that Wentworth did not make any grand announcements about removing the locks in the chain's ongoing struggle with shoplifting. I don't have anything magnificent to share with you today, he said. It's a hand-to-hand combat battle.
Oh, shit.
Unfortunately. Okay. And lastly, he said, admitting that locking up store items was a poor choice brings to mind a previous Walgreens CEO admission in January 2023 that maybe we cry too much about shoplifting. So there you have it.
Cry/lie too much.
Exactly.
You know, so when you work retail, and again, I haven't worked retail in a while, but I remember that they factored in 30% what they call shrink, right? So they just assumed that 30% of the merchandise was going to evaporate either through overt shoplifting from customers or from internal theft, right? From employees, right? So I'm wondering, Walgreens, like, did y'all lose 30% of your merch through shrink, through, you know what I mean? Just through, shoplifting, or did you lose 100% of customers who didn't want to come into a Walgreens with shit locked up?
Yeah.
And Walgreens owns Dwayne Reed too, right? In New York. Because it just made me think of like post 2020 when they were doing it was, I want to say 2021, the beginning was like the heighten of the shoplifting and the mass teens car theft and all of that stuff. And I remember that was Eric Adams, I believe it was his first year. And he was on a rampage about the amount of theft that was happening in these stores and things like that. So he was pushing these sort of anti-robbery, anti-theft things to happen across the stores. And I remember Al Sharpton being so adamantly in support of that, because he was saying on MSNBC, because, he does Mika and Joe's show in the morning sometimes. And he was saying on that show, like, what is the state of the what's going on in our communities where even the toothpaste has to be locked up. And then I was telling my mother, like, you don't think that's like, why are they locking up toothpaste? The question becomes like, why are you stealing toothpaste? But like, why is toothpaste? Why do people have to steal toothpaste? Like, why is that not the question? And then so you're locking it up is to do what? But Walmart has done that for quite some time with the diapers, with the baby formula. That has always been under lock and key. But now they're doing soaps. They're doing toothpaste, like everyday items, because this is also part of the anti-homelessness policies as well. I think these things are in tandem.
Don't you remember, wasn't it the NYPD who infamously tweeted out a picture of, look at our anti-crime, anti-theft unit, look at all the goodies or whatever, the booty that they have retrieved, and it was baby formula, it wasn't like diamonds, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like PlayStations, like it was everyday survival materials, that cleanliness, toiletries, food for kids. And that's what the NYPD was sending their undercovers out to make sure that they were shutting down these shoplifting rings that were stealing diapers. But, one of our viewers, Infinite Content, raised this up to me recently talking about the closing of 1,200 Walgreens stores, and I think Rite Aid has closed a bunch of stores. Like, and our communities are suffering from a pharmacy desert, a term that I was not familiar with until Infinite raised it to mind. I'm like, well, that would make sense. You know, I'm not sure the impact. I mean, we can assume the impact that a pharmacy desert would have, but when you close 1,200 stores in places that you had the toothpaste locked up, I would assume that these are low income areas. What impact does that have on our folks that are in need of pharmaceuticals?
And you know what that makes me think of? Like, so I grew up in Brooklyn. There's a plethora of mom and pop pharmacies, right? And they kind of all disappeared in face of a CVS and a Walgreens and a Duane Reade and things like that. So if those are now disappearing, then where are people supposed to go? Like to the hospitals and things like that? Because that has been like when I don't know, you remember what happened with Freddie Gray in North Ave and that CVS, right? And then when that CVS burned down, that was like the big thing that people were saying, not even so much that like, why are you all looting and things like that? It's like, well, once this is burnt down, where are our grandmothers supposed to get their medication? This is like the only pharmacy in the area. So that was really the criticism about you all should have had a little more foresight not to burn down that. But I was just thinking about that because you do not see mom and pop pharmacies anymore. Like I certainly haven't seen them outside of New York, outside of Brooklyn really. And yeah, and then Rite Aid I think has been bought by Walgreens, and Walgreens is Duane Reade in New York. So it's really just Walgreens and CVS, I think, at this point.
And that's what they're depending on, that they're such a conglomerate that you don't have the choices. I still see a couple of the mom and pop stores, and people, pointed out like dollar stores become the other place where you get your everyday needs met, not your prescriptions, of course, but your everyday things. And dollar stores ain't even dollar stores no more, but still. Usually there's like the things you can just jump off to get off the counter. And like most people, it makes sense that you're not going to, like, who is going to, how much more time does it take? You got to like pick out all your items and then go to somebody to come with a key to come back over to unlock the thing. Half the time they don't even give you the item. They carry the item, so like, who wants to shop like that? Ain't nobody shopping like that. And so it makes sense. And I agree. Like, they already have a built-in layer of pricing for so-called shoplifted items, which I would also hold, as stated, is probably more internal than it is external and stuff like that. Because if I can work the shop, you know what I'm saying? The old saying, if you can work it, you work it, right? So I don't think it's I think it's a combination of things, but I think these stores always oversold the level of damage done to them by the shoplifting, and they didn't in the first place. After the shoplifting would not happen if they weren't selling at such exorbitant prices in the hood anyway, gouging people. And of course, people did the right thing, which was to be like, I'm not paying for. Why am I going to pay for this? What am I going to pay $5 for toothpaste for? For toothpaste, $5 or whatever like that. I
don't even talk about that. And
you know what I'm saying?
Toothpaste is really outrageous.
Yeah, it's crazy. Is it crack? is it making you feel a certain way when you put that stuff on your teeth? Like, what is the reason for that? So that makes no sense whatsoever. The ways in which they tried to gouge people for that, and of course, people did the right thing and was to take it back. And they get into just desserts, and they did, and they made it. Not only did they do it, but then they made it such a huge deal by doing a whole marketing campaign. The only reason a story like this gets lifted up on shows like Mika with Al Sharpton is that somebody behind the scenes is getting some money in the pocket. There's some press releases. There's an ask to have them come on and talk about this. They made it such a big deal to suggest that they were somehow thwarting a robbery and all the rest of it. It's like, no, nobody was believing that. Nobody was believing that at all. And so they're paying the price that they deserve to pay. And then the question becomes, you're right, like how do people now not get the immediate needs, but get the bigger needs in terms of when some of these places close down after they've created the monopoly on how to get your prescription goods. Now people have to travel, prescription needs met. Now people have to travel extra to get those things met.
Yeah. And then even the prescriptions are like in back order. I'm really concerned about this pharmacy thing. Because like even my son, his medication is always on back order, so we can't even go to his pharmacy. We always have to travel to the next one. So if it is that you live in a pharmacy desert and that's the case, how are you getting your stuff?
Slowly, I guess. But this kind of brings me to another point, like about, you know, the hysteria that we've been seeing over the past several years about shoplifting, and we've got these shoplifting rings, and I'm thinking about Los Angeles in particular, because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it Karen Bass who made it a whole show? Like, oh, we're gonna designate a task force against all of this shoplifting. We can't have all of this retail theft. And then the contrast, the amount that the Los Angeles Police Department received in the last year's budget versus the cuts that the fire department received, and even look into New York, how much money that NYPD receives versus you know, healthcare, mental health care in particular, because I don't know what the fuck. I'm glad we got some New Yorkers on screen. New York, what is going on? I don't want to single out New York as being uniquely crazy, because this is America and everywhere is fucking crazy. But with the issues with well, at least how it's being propagated on the mainstream about people with mental health issues, you know, committing these acts of violence. It's like, but look at how you allotted your funds. Like you don't have anything to help the people that are unhoused and suffering from mental health crisis. You've got money for cops. So I don't know. All of this it's all the roosters are coming home to roost. All the chickens, that is.
Yeah. No, it all comes back to cops. It all comes back to cops, to private security. It all comes back to creating a society where you have the haves and the have-nots, and the solution is never redistribution. It's always locking up, criminalizing, chastising, being arrogant towards the have-nots. That's always the solution for these people. And so that's why, you know, there's no difference from Bass to New York with Adams and so forth. They're all the same.
Yeah, and all Democrats. But I think we spoke to that yesterday. She ran. Well, she came in late to the election, I believe, on the latter half of that, and she ran on being tough on crime specifically. So that was always her intention, even with the task force. But that was Adams' big debut, that he was now tough on crime, and he used that, you know, this displays of the petty theft and things like that. He hyper fixated on it and made it a bigger issue than it was. And so we see all of that being the result of now corporations are now saying, well, all right, so maybe we should rethink these policies because it is backfiring on our bottom line. And all of this is about a bottom line. So if it is that they need you to steal so that they continue to make that money, because they would get it, you know, insurance will pay that back, then they're more than willing to do that than actually take a stance on something that's not even happening in mass, not in the way that it's being reported. Like, people steal, certainly. I mean, if you can get away with it, like, why? Who wants to pay for something that you don't have to pay for? And so I get that. People steal for a plethora of reasons. Some people need it, and some people just steal. Some people are just thieves. But it's not like that the stores itself take such a hit that they can't recover from what is stolen, right? But what happens to the person who steals is significant, and the processes of all this criminalization is significant.
Well, the stores are going to make up for the retail theft by stealing wages from their employees.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Man, I used to be a good thief. I tell you.
You used to be a good shoplifter?
Oh yeah. I mean, now it's they got tags, they got cameras and everything.
It's different now. Boosting the change.
It has. I go in and have three new outfits underneath my outfit I came in.
Are you that good?
Oh, come on, man. That's how we boost.
He's from Jersey, Kamal. He's from
True indeed.
Jersey.
True indeed.
Used to go to that changing room. Yap. Put our regular clothes back on. Get up out of there. And then hit the grocery. And then hit the corner store. Oh my God.
Oh no, yeah.
Well, the corner store was always
we used to get there all the time. Coming as a group, like 5 of us.
Yes.
Coming real deep.
You talking to one person while the other be like, yam. Oh my God. But I was broke, very broke one time. at a point in my life, and I had to go into a Kroger and steal some food. I did have to do that.
So did you run out with the cart, or how'd you do that? How'd you
Oh
pull
no,
that
you
off?
just put it down in your pants, put it in
okay.
your jacket.
Inside pockets.
Yeah, depends on the weather.
I appreciate the techniques. Some of my goofball friends would go in there, fill up a cart, and then run out the store with the cart.
That's dope.
They used to do that in Colombia. Ask Jared; he probably know all about it.
Yo, my man stole a turkey one time.
Them locks. Them carts only went so far. Keith used to have them locks on them carts.
Oh, right.
I don't even understand. Like Walmart has these folks that look at certain receipts when you leave. It's like this is not a strategy because it's not. They don't look at everybody's receipt. What kind of strategy is this? And they look at it for like a half a second. It's like, okay, you're good. It's like you didn't look at that, B.
Especially since I didn't sent him with the stuff in his. You stopped me with the receipt. He walking out the door.
And you got to go to the self checkout with the camera that's messed up.
Oh no, they changed that too. Self checkout is different now too. They got the cameras right on you now.
Yeah, they do. That's why I said you got to go to the ones the camera messed up.
And then if you don't scan it correctly, that should play it back for you. Like, look, we saw you not scanning it correctly.
It will.
Like, damn.
Yo, man, listen.
Messing up the game.
Good old days.
I know.
Y'all are bringing it. I'm enjoying. I'm really learning something about what's going on in the world today because y'all are bringing it. That's no even need for me to do another break right now.
Why not though? You're
so
good at the break.
You popped up like you was ready to do a quick break.
You know.
I thought you were going to pop up about employees stealing.
Oh,
that's what you. Oh,
exactly. I was like, I can add to this conversation.
Well, you almost stick around for the other story that I got too. Then.
All right,
cool.
cool.
You want to stay around for a quick story then? I got a quick one.
I'll stick around for a quick story. Why not?
Right, so I think everybody's going to know about this story. Well, this story like is part of the heart of let's say eating culture in the community, and this is like a huge loss in some ways. I'm making fun of it, but
you ain't talking about Red 40, are you?
Not Red 40,
okay.
But Red Dye number 3.
Number 3, I meant. Yeah.
Red Dye FDA bans Red Dye number 3 from foods after 70 years.
After killing us, of giving us cancer, of all types of shit. Yes.
The U.S. regulators on Wednesday banned the dye called Red 3 from the nation's food supply nearly 35 years after it was barred from cosmetics because of potential cancer risk. Food and Drug Administration officials granted a 2022 petition filed by 24 food safety and health advocates who urged the agency to revoke authorization for the substance that gives some candies, snacks, snack cakes, and what is that? Maraschino cherries,
maraschino
red hue.
Well, obviously, it was too dangerous for topical use. Only internal consumption was
should be allowed.
You're allowed to eat shit. You can put it on your face though. I might make you sick, but if you eat, it's fine.
I'm actually concerned though. This changes my entire diet. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm like, what about my Starburst gummies and my Doritos?
Exactly.
They won't have that deep red color anymore. The agency said it was taking the action as a matter of law because some studies have found that the dye caused cancer in lab rats. Officials cited a statute known as the Delancey Clause, which required FDA to ban any additive found to cause cancer in people or animals. The dye is known. I'm not even going to try that. That's a.
You need a word spelled?
Erythricol, something along those
maraschino.
lines. But I got through the maraschino. I got through that one, but this one I'm not going to even try to get through. Basically known as Red Dye 3. The ban removes it from the list of approved color additives in food, dietary supplements, and oral medicines such as cough syrups. More than 3 decades ago, the FDA declined to authorize use of Red 3 in cosmetics and externally applied drugs because a study showed it caused cancer when eaten by rats. Lastly, I'll wrap up. The FDA is taking action that will remove the authorization for the use of the FD&C Red number 3 in food and ingested drugs, said the deputy commissioner. Evidence shows cancer in laboratory male rats exposed to high levels of Red number 3. Importantly, the way the Red number 3 causes cancer in male rats does not occur in humans, is their claim. It says food manufacturers will now have until February 2027, so 2 more years, to remove the dye from their products, while makers of ingested drugs have until January 2028 to do the same. And it says other countries still allow for certain uses. So Red Dye 3 is disappearing from the shelves after 35, 40 years.
I like to say big up to all the guys and nurses. They've been telling us about the dyes.
True.
They've been saying you can't fuck with that swine, them dyes. They've been saying it. Go
They
ahead,
didn't say
Ken.
nothing about swine. See, now
Oh,
you
yes,
got
they
no
have.
swine in
They
there.
always been saying no swine.
The report ain't say nothing about swine.
Well,
all right?
I'm just.
To the
I'm
red
just-
dye. Like now you
See.
just throwing ham in there and it,
woo! We talk about drugs, boy. We talk about drugs. We don't talk about one drug, and that is food. Y'all motherfuckers is addicted, yo. Y'all talk about some of the
we
things
just
y'all
did a
wanna-
whole story on Red Dye 3. We agree with you. That should have been banned a long time ago.
But
What were you saying, Ken?
5. I say yellow number 5. Throw that in there too.
Yellow number 5. All them shits, man. It's Cheetos, the Takis.
But it's not. It just think about.
I'm a lot now.
Right, you're doing a lot.
Wait. See?
Pointing out all the top snacks. You know what I'm saying? But no, I'm thinking as a Gen Xer, right? What is all the shit that is now being reviewed and relooked at? For example, like the baby powder. Do you understand how I used to fluff my lady parts with baby powder as a teen, and then come to find out it was motherfucking asbestos in the baby powder? Asbestos. So as a Gen Xer, I feel like they've been trying to kill us. They
have.
to kill us.
They have. I mean, even because I'm thinking with the baby powder, they used to put that on the bed in the pillowcases and had the whole bed smelling right, and you laying on this all night, every day.
Yeah. It was like water. It was consumed. Not internally, but like water in our community. Everybody had baby.
But baby powder all up your neck, like
right.
You gotta have it all over.
Putting it directly on the nether regions of the babies, for God's sakes. Like, look at this shit, man. And again, you abandon any hope, any faith that you may have had in America, because it's a death cult from beginning to end, from start to finish. Like, the goal is just to inject you full of carcinogens and then have you have no health care and make sure that you go poor and become homeless from trying to fix yourself from the shit that they fed you.
Listen, it's all a business. This is FDA is the biggest drug dealers in the world, legal drug dealers. And then it's like, okay, if I got a country, right? Let's just say I got a country, and I want to get people in and get people out and make sure I could get money from them. I get them sick, so they die around 50s, 60s from cancer. We give them bottled water. The water is filled with plastic and all types of cancerous stuff in the water. Now that every day we drink bottled water. We give them foods that got cancer. So now they got to go to the hospital. They got to spend all this money trying to get sick, paying for medicines, this, that, and the third. Then they got to go to the hospital, pay more money, and then we can get them up out of here by 60, and then get more people up in here, have more births, and then get them sick.
But the rub is that the younger generations are not having the kids, and that's what's fucking the shit up.
I don't know about it.
He said kids, they having kids around here.
I know so many 40, 50 somethings with 0 children, and that was not typical. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember as a younger person, as a child, you know, you didn't meet too many aunties and uncles that didn't have no kids, 0. Now, I bet y'all can name 5 to 10 people at least that are in their 40s and 50s with 0 children.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's part of the larger debate around even sort of like the so-called advanced Western capitalist systems, where you're right, where people birth rates go down. Japan is experiencing this, and to a degree. China is starting to experience this in terms
Europe
of
too. Yep.
Yeah, like when birth rates start to go down, that a lot of times the answer is immigration, but that brings in this sort of nationalism, right? This narrow nationalism that folks don't want to bring that in, but at the same time, your whole society is dying off because of whatever middle ground way in which the understanding of raising kids and having kids is part of a sort of keeping a society going has been completely lost to the ethos of, and very debatable, whatever, but the ethos of caring for self, looking out for self, trying to achieve, and not wanting to have families and kids in the same way which was structured before, all potentially very arguable states to be, but there are larger societal ramifications. And I don't think, and I think that is and that's partly what's happening in some of these places where people are, people are not accepting the need for immigration and other population centers to continue on with society because they're so racist and have been trained to be so racist in a lot of ways that they think hey, I'm just not doing that. We rather go down and just be a bunch of old people. And I think this is one of these interesting ongoing arguments. We don't really have it a lot on the left, but I think there's other places where that discussion is had, not always in good ways, but I think it is a huge discussion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know in terms of reproductive justice, that's always in terms of how we discussed it, like my comrades and I, has been a part of what Kim has named or even what Ear Doctor has named, because of these certain things and these certain aspects of people witnessing this happening. Because before it became by 30 I had to have this and this and this, and when you look at older sitcoms, right, everybody made 30 seem like it was the fine line. And then when you look back, it's how the hell all these people had successful businesses and all that at 25 26, and they're looking at 30 oh my god, it's all downhill from there. But because we were all kind of conditioned, you have to have these certain things, meet these markers, and as time goes on, and the realism of we cannot meet these markers because of our material conditions by these ages, then it became less and less important to meet these kind of markers, because it's not you couldn't possibly do it by 30, and we're seeing less and less people do that. And then we also see more people wait, that intentionally are saying, I don't want to have kids until, or I don't want to have kids at all and bring kids into the society. So they're there's a plethora of reasons. And then to the point of us talking about this red dye, number 3, the amount of fibroids, issues that have just become such an issue. Yes, my housewives, but I just happened to watch 2 different ones, and both Black women had to have surgery for fibroids. One had 10. Damn. That had to be removed, and the other had one the size of a grapefruit, and they were all struggling with reproductive issues, right? So a lot of these things, I think, are accumulation of why we're seeing people not having kids or opting out of having kids. So yeah, I just think we cornered ourselves into a kind of fucked society.
And look, all these pills they got for guys to even get it up nowadays. It's just how it is so ridiculous. We depend on so many drugs and medicines and stuff to get us through the day.
Oh, Ear Doctor, that's gender affirming care. That's gender affirming care for the mandem with the low testosterone.
I was going to say not exactly that, but for men, obviously there's been men in the West, the idea of loss of testosterone and or sperm count. And and again, the connections to food,
that's what
and all the rest of it. There's already been links made, but it's not talked about in a way that brings some sort of change. And that, from the male point of view, in terms of bodily issues based on what we eat and all that kind of stuff, in terms of the Western society, all of that stuff is taking place too. And again, you're right. Either we're not talking about it, or there's not a real there's not a movement around it, or it's just not happening fast enough, because these corporations will get away with what they can get away with for as long as possible. And that's kind of what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, just read what you put in your body. I ain't saying do this, what to eat, what not to. Just read. Look on the back of it, and if you can read actually what the ingredients are, then you might be all right. Because a lot of these you can't. Yeah, but do you know these words that's on the ingredients that's going inside your body? You don't. Because there's some big ass words that's unorthodox.
Part of what the doctors say part of what nutritionists say is, I think there was a book that was written a few years ago that made a sort of a big play, was eat food, mostly vegetables, and not a lot, right? But part of that other advice was also, don't buy foods where you can't read the ingredients. Or if the ingredients have too many chemical additives and so forth, and understand that those things aren't real foods, that they're preserved for a particular reason. And when you got food that doesn't disintegrate, then it's not real food again, right? And you have these fries that can stay around for 5 years, a burger that can stay around for 5 years. It's like, is that really food?
So I need all my politically educated people out there to politically educate themselves on their diet. How about that?
But not just diet, Ear Doctor. To your point about the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, like over even in my adulthood, I can name a handful of drugs that were FDA approved. And then all of a sudden, them shit started killing people or started giving people heart murmurs or arrhythmias or caused cancer. I see the commercials for, did you receive Depo-Provera as a contraceptive? And do you have a brain tumor now? It's like, wait a fucking second. Yes, I did get Depo-Provera as a 19-year-old. So what? Should I be looking out for this brain tumor any day now? Because I assumed that the birth control that was being given to me by the health department was on the up and up. Like it's everything. So you have to question everything that you put in your body.
Hip hop got us going to blunts, smoking blunts now. Blunts even on the side of the package say will cause cancer.
Now he's trying to take the backwoods too.
I'm saying this is a plan. This is a plan. We talking about blunts. We talk about microwaving food. We talking about fast. The faster they can get it out, the less they gonna give care into it, and they gonna put some bullshit into it and make it get out there to the masses.
Right, so here's a big question. When those, like, one of those, if I have my own country or you, whatever.
Got you.
How do you feel about this? I think like a few years ago this came up, but I can't remember under which mayor. Again, I think in New York City. Hopefully, y'all will have more information. But they were trying to either ban, was it the sodas, or there was something they were trying to ban, and particularly that they said impacted obviously our community, right? And it seems very paternalistic.
Was it the menthol cigarettes?
Was it the menthol cigarettes? It was like specifically,
Newports.
Yeah, you can't smoke.
So what do y'all think about that? Like they were they're banning the specific thing that again, under the guise of that it was impacting our community, the health issues, so forth. But it just seemed like it's like they can get away with it in our community. It's like, so why not ban all cigarettes or whatever? So I'm curious about what y'all think about that. And that's right, and supersized sodas and all that stuff. Yeah.
That started under Bloomberg, right? I think I was still living in New York when that shit started. Like Obama was just
it was under Bloomberg. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was still living in New York. That's when cigarettes became $15. They taxed the shit out of
They taxed the shit out. You got to get a second job to get it.
Nobody stopped smoking. That's when you got the Lucy's went on like quick.
Yeah, Lucy's
was selling.
Yeah.
What?
Let me get 3 for $1. That came out quick because $15 a pack. That was crazy. I was still living in New York then. But yeah, that was something that they were doing. Bloomberg also did that with the sodas too in New York, and that was I think that was a targeting thing. But
so what do y'all think about it as a policy? Like, do you think that that makes sense? I'm just curious about it.
Nobody stopped smoking. They just found the 15, or they got Lucy's. Like, nobody stopped smoking because of that. I think what they're doing now with the projects is you can't smoke in the building, you can't smoke in your home, or you're gonna get put out. And I think that's
the public housing stuff is crazy.
Yeah, I think that's crazy because you face eviction for smoking, and I just feel like that's a personal
in your
vice.
House,
right.
In your house.
That's a personal vice, and like we can argue whether or not it's healthy or not, but it's their, that's their home. And I think what the projects are arguing is, well, it's actually not.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. There ain't no arguing if it's healthy or not. That means that this menthol is so powerful that the secondhand smoke is fucking people up too.
But how can they just but it's not like it's across the board banned. It's only banned like part of it in the smoking thing it wasn't just menthol. Like they banned smoking in public housing, period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's so, and again, not that people didn't go ahead and do it sometimes, but the mere fact is, so what are you going to do? Are you going to bang in my doors? Or are you going to bang in somebody's doors for that, as opposed to all the other social ills? So part of me is like, and obviously this, whether or not all cigarettes should be banned, like, is that a discussion to be had or whatever like that? So,
I mean, people need to get legally high. So
Well, I guess, but I'm not sure about the efficacy and the safety of store-bought marijuana either versus buying weed from your local weed person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I I I, I have questions about the use of pesticides, about how they are, monitoring, mites and mold and all of that shit from the state regulated weed. I'm not convinced that it's safer than the corner boy weed.
No, I don't think it's safe. Is that how it's being marketed? That it is safer?
Well, that's what, that's kind of how it is. That's my interpretation of it. Oh, well, it's regulated and it's this kind of, it was grown here and da da da. And it's like I had no idea where my weed was being grown at for 25 years.
Right. Now you want me to worry?
No worries or concerns about the conditions in which my weed was being grown. But I don't know. I do think it's paternalistic to tell people that they can't smoke menthol cigarettes. At the same time, menthol is crazy. I think it's crazy more dangerous than just unmentholed cigarettes. But to your point, cigarettes should be outlawed, period. Like tobacco is one of the leading causes of cancer. And it's amazing how in America, like things that cause cancer are readily available for retail sale. There's a state tax and a federal tax put upon carcinogens, known carcinogens, and they sell it to us anyway.
Yeah. But I don't think the banning has anything to do with our health. I don't think they are concerned with the health of the people that live in the projects. Yeah. Like that just, I feel like that's just another way to criminalize. And then I think we talked about this before, Kamal, about the intention of turning those projects in New York into co-ops, right? So we can put people the fuck out, then we have that space. And this is, everybody in the projects is smoking. There's your grandma in there in her room smoking her cigarette with her Pepsi. Your cousins is in their room smoking the L. Like, you know what it is in the projects, right? So they know it too. So that is the easiest type of policy to get people out. It has nothing to do with anybody's personal safety. Like, I don't doubt, like, I'm not making the argument that it's safe to smoke indoors or that people need to be smoking indoors. I'm sure it's not safe. And secondhand smoke has been proven to be a thing. Not if you're smoking weed, though. I don't believe in that. People don't believe in that.
I heard New York just smell like weed.
but it is a thing. But I don't think that any of this is I mean, especially if it's a Bloomberg policy, this is not with the care and concern for the average New Yorker.
No, these projects is like I was on the 8th floor, and so we had a view. You know what I mean? Like we had a citywide view. Like we was in Brooklyn, you had a skyline view. I am sure that they've looked at that and similar, and were like, these are co-ops and condos in the making. And I do agree. I think that is a huge, big plan. That again, I think I've heard in some places it might have already started, but I think that's a huge. New York probably has more public housing still of the variety of that type, like big buildings, 14, 15 floors, than almost any place, if not any place in the country. To me, that is the next thing. Now they even started. The way they started positioning how they would move people in, like they stopped. The statistics kind of showed that they would move most Black immigrants like into projects that were like in Brooklyn or some other places, and they stopped moving certain people. If they were sort of an Asian immigrant, they got to live in Manhattan. But if the Black immigrants they got pushed to Brooklyn, the Bronx, and other places like that. So for me, there's been this plan for a number of years, if not decades in the making. And there's people behind the scenes saying, like you said, how do we topple this? How do we start moving this, since they've already successfully pushed away from large scale public housing as being, unsafe and criminal and all the rest of it. And then they've pushed this idea of giving vouchers for people to go search for homes at market rates or whatever like that. So I completely agree. It's going to be a system of that kind of nature.
Yeah, they've been trying to get the Puerto Ricans out of Lower Manhattan. Like they've been trying to get them out of there. And to your point, when I leave and I see other projects and they're only like 4 stories high, I'm like, this is a project? Because I know projects to be at least 18 to 24 stories, at least. So, and that's like buildings. So when I see other places, I'm always like, oh, this is what y'all think is a project. Okay.
I was like that too. I was kind of like, it's like, this ain't no project, like all like arrogant about it. It's like, I don't know what no projects is. These ain't no project.
Well, you come down south, the projects aren't tall. They just spread out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
So
look like buildings.
they do that. I was like, wait, that's just like a nice apartment, but they're not. Yo, great show, everybody. Thank y'all for all coming through, all our remixes and everything. Listen, you got anything coming up? We'll start with you, Kim Bridown.
I didn't have a show Tuesday, but I will have a show on Friday. So come hang out with me. Thank you.
No doubt. Erica?
I'll be on tomorrow to interview someone from BAP SoCal to talk about LA a little bit more in depth, the work that's going on out there with the organizing. Yeah, and then after that, I'll be gone.
Kamal?
Yeah. Something I want to do.
Okay.
Is I want to have Max. Is it Max Aji or Ajay?
I
to
can
talk
ask.
about
I can ask.
to talk about the Syrian stuff. He did a great political education for us at CMB, and I got his email, then I lost it all of a sudden. So we should plan for that next week.
Next Wednesday. Let's make that happen.
Yeah. All
right. We are out of here, and I'll be around. So I'll probably do a pop-up or something. And catch us right here at Black Liberation Media and hit that like button, subscribe, and all them things. We are out, y'all. Thank y'all for coming in, tuning in. Peace out. Till tomorrow. 8 a.m.